Back at it. That's right, fam. I don't know how interesting this will be, but maybe well, I gotta kind of warm up a little bit. Starting late today. Splattercat, honestly, you get the best attendance award for sure. I'll give you another 1,000 points right there, brother. Thank you so much for coming. It's always nice to have you here. Starting late. Had a good friend of mine needed to call me and talk about his troubles and stuff, so I had to, you know, have some friend time, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I try. Good, good stuff. Good stuff. I just put out an article on my Substack. I don't think no, I didn't put it on the Telegram group yet, though. I shared it to some people. It's pretty wild. I had this question about fascism, and you know, I do my fair bit of research on these things in history and politics and ideology, etc. And I've come to understand that it's a philosophy written by Giovanni Gentile, and then later this and that and the other thing, and blah blah blah. And so I thought, you know what, I want to ask. I'm going to go on Twitter and I'll ask Grok AI to kind of comment on this and like see if it can answer some of my questions. Now, granted, it's Twitter AI, so I know that it's gonna give me a certain kind of answer, or it can't give the proper answers, or blah blah blah, whatever. But I've never really used Grok before. Hey Tox, good morning. It's morning where you are, I guess, right? Anyway, so I go on there to Twitter's AI and I start posing the question about, did Giovanni Gentile create fascism? Knowing that the answer is yes. But it says, well, not entirely. Mussolini had a lot to do with it, and this and that, and talkie. And so I'm like, okay, I see these points and something. So then I noticed that Grok has a very snarky, liberal kind of tone to it. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with Grok and it, ask it any kind of questions or anything? I was surprised at how human it sounded, but like I said, the kind of snarky liberal attitude that it had was annoying, to say the least, and so I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So I rephrased several of the questions to point out that it was wrong on certain topics, and then to, sort of play with it a bit, fuck with it a little bit to see, like, well, let's see how does it handle this. And so I would say, well, you're this isn't true, or you're contradicting yourself, or according to your definition, then blah 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 blah. And so it kind of entered into almost like a debate mode with me, which was interesting. And I ended up, it was fairly long, and I was essentially saying, like, you sound like you're leaning into communism a lot with like your explanation for these things. And there's like the popular use of the term fascism, which is incorrect. And then there's like the actual historic and ideological definitions. And it's actually fairly complex if you consider that, Spain, Chile, Portugal, Germany, and if you consider Sir Isaac Mosley in the UK, all had, in a sense, different kinds of fascism. So it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation. But again, it's like, working within certain kind of, parameters that what it can and can't say and all that shit. So anyway, I published that. I put that. I kind of copy pasted that and put it on my what do you call it? My Substack. So if anyone's on my Substack, go check that out. It's pretty interesting. I didn't bother to go in and break down every little point where it was wrong. I think anyone in our sphere would be able to read it and go, oh, right, sure, yeah, like we already know a lot of the answers, and you're gonna see where Grok is kind of, you know, doing that shit, doing the liberal shtick, if you will. Let's say hello to, let's see, we got some comments here. Hold on a second. Is Mr. Kent okay? I'm okay. Look at me. I'm not wearing my brace. It's still a little painful, but I can move better. That brace really, really, really helped a lot. So I'm happy to say that my sprained wrist is getting better. I can't, lift heavy objects quite yet or whatever. I have some issues, but it's getting better. And thank you for asking. Splattercat says, I haven't tried using Grok yet, but I've used ChatGPT. Yeah, me too. I've used it quite a lot. Hey there, American Counter Rev. Talk says, I asked ChatGPT something and he called me babe. What the fuck? That's weird. That's extremely weird. Creepy. Yeah, I'll say. That is freaking weird. Why wouldn't it do that? So, Grok did not call me, any kind of names, but the tone in which it talked to me was, I didn't like it. It was weird. It was kind of too familiar. And then it did have this kind of like, slightly condescending tone. It's like the way liberals talk to you. They talk to you like they talk down to you, like they know better than you, or they are better than you. And that's, pretty infuriating, as you can imagine. It's just like, it's annoying as fuck. So like I pointed that out a little bit in the beginning of my article, just saying like, this Grok sounds like you're talking to a barista, like a liberal barista in San Francisco or something like that, kind of snarky, I know it all attitude. It's an interesting read. I think it's an interesting portrayal of Grok as an AI, but also the way that AI is programmed to be anti-white, because I was able to force it to talk about Volk or folk, and how fascism is about protecting the folk, the people, and how it's superior to communism for various reasons, blah blah blah. And the answers that it gave really, really demonstrated, like, oh, who cares about your folk? Like, yeah, well, if you're into that bit, like oh, it's really frustrating. Talk says, sometimes kitten. ChatGPT called you kitten. That's extremely weird. Like, is that you wanted to know my kitten? It's very odd. Oliver Reno, 14. All right. 1488, is that what we're saying? Hello, Don, and hello to you, sir. It's great to have you here. Let's see. Yeah. I can't do a super late show. I actually have to get up really, really early. You got to go into work early tomorrow. And I had a friend who needed to talk to me. He's got some problems, and so I had to do, I had to give him a call and kind of make sure he's okay and whatever. So I'm starting a little late tonight because of that. My friend's okay. You got to look out for your friends. There's times when things are not going so well, and they need to hear your voice, and you just gotta kind of reach out and make them laugh, or just listen, or whatever. So that's pretty much like the reason why I'm kind of starting late this evening. Um, and then, like I just said, like ironically, I got to get up early for work tomorrow, so it's kind of a short show, my friends. I'm so sorry, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the AI article on my Substack. And I still have not. No, actually, I did put the Substack link onto my YouTube. So I don't know if you guys can see it or find it. Like, if you go to the homepage of this YouTube channel, do you see my Substack listed there? I know that my website's listed, but anyway, that would be helpful. I have to start funneling people into my Substack, because I'm going to eventually start charging for content there, and I need to monetize it. Robert Pyle is here. Welcome, sir. Splattercat, no, it says no description. What the fuck? That's not what it says on when I open it. That's not what it looks like when I open it. That's annoying as shit. Maybe somebody can, I don't know if anyone's on my Telegram, if you could take a screenshot and post it there, just so I can kind of see, what it looks like. That'd be helpful. Pyle says, I just got here and you're telling me you're already ending the show. Wah, wah. Not immediately. Not immediately. I was just kind of saying I got to do a bit of a short show this evening. But I miss you guys. I had to come and say hi. I couldn't leave you high and dry. Did you ever hear the song High and Dry by Radiohead? Love that song. I love that song. That song's got me written all over it. When you get betrayed so much, and songs like that, they really hit. All right, let's read something. Oh, wait, never mind. It's on your actual channel. So when you say actual channel, you mean my YouTube channel, right? I misunderstood. First time I checked, it's there. Okay, good. Talk says, I'm having a hard time in here. My cousin's home. Oh, well, it looks like you're busy. I just got her. Okay. Don't leave me. Maybe I should just sing since I don't have the radio. I didn't put that on. I would sing if I had my guitar with me, but I can't draw and play guitar at the same time. I know the Def Leppard song High and Dry. This song is by Radiohead. So it's quite different. I don't think you could make any comparisons between those two bands, Quite different indeed. All right. At least last night we had a lot of fun. Okay. Good for you. Good for you. Happy times. Oh, man. Yeah. I'm backed up though. I gotta clean around the house, and got certain projects I'm kind of falling behind on. It's never enough fucking time, you know. Talk says, no, I'm not busy. I'm bored. Anyone's sleeping. I'm the one who's awake waiting for your stream. Oh my God, seriously? And I'm late today. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Yeah, just like I said, my buddy needed me to call him, and I kind of had to help him out with his troubles, his problems, and that's why I started late today. Um, he's a good friend. He's definitely on. He's not exactly on the same page politically, but very very close. Like not everybody gets it. You know what I'm saying? What's fascinating is like he's more of a kind of a normie. Not he's not a normie, but sort of a Trump guy, that kind of thing. And even he's starting to see like the problem with Israel and stuff like that. Like what's going on with that. So like I don't know. We'll see how that all plays out. But it's a type of a way for me to kind of gauge, what people like him are thinking. You know what I mean? If you look at like the different people on the scale of, the political scale, if you will. What do we got? You sound tired. Yeah, I'm always freaking tired. No, I'm not always tired, but I mean, I do. It's going on 10:30 here at night, and that's after a full day of work, and then this and that, chores, or I've got a number of activities that I'm working on, business building related things. I had a really good talk with someone in my family, so I feel good about that relationship. That's nice, some healing happening there, and healing is good, as you guys know, right? Must have the healing. Indeedy. This is really something. I feel like my artwork is getting more and more and more detailed as the book goes on. Hi, Don from Hanny. Hey, Hanny. You stream regularly, huh? I try to. I started late today, and I got to end early because I have to get up real early, and I'm already exhausted. But I really just didn't want to disappoint you guys. I feel like if I'm going to get out here and do this stuff, I better get out here and do this stuff. I got fans to take care of. There's just something about doing my work at the end of the day. Like I did other work today. I actually drew 2 more pages. Why don't I show you the art that I did today? That's actually a nice idea. Give you something new to look at instead of this ugly dude. Okay, let me grab the artwork. Hang tight. Almost there. So I didn't do 2 pages. Apparently, I only did one. I feel like I have another page somewhere. Anyway, let's see if I can get a little more light. Not much. Anyway, there's our dude. Now, Militia Man has changed. He's transformed. I think I told you about, if you guys have been following the show, there's basically his pregnant wife was murdered. And he loses his mind. And it's kind of like the Hulk in a way. He goes from, when he discovers her body, he loses he's like, he flips out. And because of his superpowers and his true identity, when he flips out, he transforms into this character, which is like a wrathful, imagine a wrathful angel, like an angel of death almost. And so at this point, he wants to just kill everybody that is had anything to do with killing his wife. And not only that, he's just gonna he used to be very compassionate and lawful and Christian, and he thought, I like, he uses rubber bullets on his in his gun and stuff, and he doesn't, he just believes in law and order and political, or like due process and all of that stuff. But now he's like, well, you killed my wife and my unborn child. I'm just gonna kill you all. So now he's lost it. He's a total fill in the blank, whatever you want to call him. And so, and the following, well, I haven't drawn it yet, but like he has like Superman powers where he's like laser blasts from his eyes, and he shoots up. And I didn't draw it yet, but in this panel, he shoots the roof, or the ceiling and roof off of his house. So in the following page, he's in his living room, but the roof is gone. And you can kind of see like debris falling and fire and things. And then you see his wife's body in the chair here. And his eyes have turned completely black. And his tears are black, and they stain his face. So he now has like black tears that have burned into his face forever. And so he's always going to look like this now afterwards, with these black tears. And he picks, like, he notices on the table that there's a bouquet of flowers with Judeo-Christian news. There's like this little letter, so it looks as if somebody was visiting her with flowers. He picks up the flowers, and they start on fire. And then he's reading the card, and if you remember this scene with this guy who came to visit the wife with the flowers, his name is Jacob Sharp, and he's part of Judeo-Christian News, and he's the one that ordered to have the wife killed. He set up the hit. So he reads the card, and it says, his wife's name is Aurora. So, dear Aurora, on behalf of everyone at Judeo-Christian News, we send our sincere condolences. Roger will always be remembered as America's most beloved hero. Sincerely, Jacob Sharp. So, because it's, if you guys are following my story, you would know that, like, they tried to kill Militiaman and MAGA Force, but nobody knows that Militiaman's father is actually an angel. And so, because later in the story, they have to come and fight a devil, you see. So there's kind of like angelic and demonic forces at play. The story gets much deeper in this regard. So now that he knows, Jacob Sharp was the last there, he's going to hunt him down and kill him. That's the plan. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But this is the new Militiaman. He is no longer Militiaman. Now he's Dark MAGA. So he's changed from, our beloved Boy Scout Captain America character, Militiaman, into Dark MAGA. So this is when shit gets real. This is when shit gets really real. And the story is going to take a hell of a turn. So it's going to be exciting. I'm like flipped out about it. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to keep going and get this thing published. Anyway, let's read some comments. Da 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 da. And I'm gonna have to hit the sack. I'm dying. I'm super tired. Robert says, I am tired all the time. I stream 3 days a week and appear on other streams and still try to draw sometimes as well as do research. It wears me out. I'm just like you, bro. I mean, I get it, man. I was on a show recently myself. Uh, I know how you feel, Donald. Okay. Anti-whiteism ends with you. Promethean hails, brothers and sisters. Good to have you, sir. I'm sorry that you're coming in right towards the end of the show, though. Robert says hello. That's interesting. Hanny says, Hanny, what kind of comics do you like and read? What are you into? What's your thing? I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Um, just a tiny bit more here. No answer. All right. Well, in that case, guys, I apologize for such a short show. I will see you next time. I'm dead. I'm dead tired. So I'll tell you what, maybe that's not the nicest image to end on here. Let's end on a nicer image than that. How about that? Can't find your channel. It's okay. I'm more happy to let you go. What do you mean my channel? You mean this is my YouTube channel. You mean have a good night. Somebody help him out there. At the homepage of this YouTube channel, you will find my Substack, and you want to go there and read the article that I just posted about asking Grok AI the definition of fascism. So that's the last thing I will leave you with. It's a very interesting back and forth between human and robot. So, on that note, God bless. Love you guys. Have a great day, evening, whatever. Just pass out. I will. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.